Do you ever wish you could enjoy fresh, homegrown fruit without a big backyard or expensive tools? Imagine picking ripe strawberries straight from your container garden. Today, I'll show you the top 9 fruits that thrive in containers and small spaces, perfect for anyone who wants fresh fruit without a lot of room. Whether you're in New York, California, or Toronto, these fruits will grow and flourish in your space. If you're ready to grow your own fruit, hit that subscribe button now. You don't want to miss out on more gardening tips that will make your space bloom. Welcome, garden lovers! Whether you're working with a small balcony, a cozy patio, or even just a sunny windowsill, you can still grow your own fruit. There's a common misconception that growing fruit requires a massive yard, but with the right container and a little care, you can have fresh, delicious fruit right at your fingertips. In today's video, we're diving into 9 fruits that are perfect for containers and small spaces. You don't need to be an expert gardener. These are simple, easy-to-grow fruits that will have you feeling like a green-thumbed pro in no time. Let's get started. Fruit 1. Strawberries. Let's start with one of the most popular fruits for containers, strawberries. If you've ever tasted a fresh, homegrown strawberry, you know there's nothing quite like it. They're sweet, juicy, and packed with flavor, far better than anything you'll find at the grocery store. The great thing about strawberries is they don't require a lot of space. In fact, they thrive in containers, making them perfect for smaller gardens or even windowsills. The best part? You can grow them year-round if you choose the right variety. For containers, I recommend ever-bearing strawberry plants. These varieties will keep producing fruit throughout the growing season, meaning you'll have fresh strawberries for months, not just during one short period. If you're in USDA hardiness zones 4 to 8, like much of the Northeast, Midwest, and parts of California, you can plant strawberries in the spring, and they'll thrive throughout the summer. If you're in warmer zones like 9 or 10, you can even plant strawberries in the fall and enjoy them in the winter. Strawberries need a good-sized container with drainage holes. A hanging basket or a simple pot works great, but make sure it's at least 10 inches deep so the roots have plenty of room to grow. If you're growing them in a hanging basket, make sure they get at least 6 hours of direct sunlight each day. When you plant strawberries, make sure the crown, the top part where the leaves grow, is level with the surface of the soil. Too deep, and it could rot. Not deep enough, and the plant won't get the nutrients it needs. Water them regularly, but don't let the soil stay soggy. Strawberries don't like to have their roots sitting in water, so make sure your container has proper drainage. I remember the first time I grew strawberries in a pot. It was a small balcony in my apartment in Chicago, but those tiny berries made all the difference. I felt so proud every time I picked a handful and added them to my morning oatmeal or just enjoyed them fresh. And the taste, wow! There's nothing like the sweetness of a strawberry you've grown yourself. Plus, if you grow ever-bearing varieties, you can keep harvesting throughout the season. Imagine going out in the morning with your coffee and picking fresh berries just waiting for you to enjoy. Fruit 2. Tomatoes. Tomatoes are probably the most common container fruit, and for a good reason. They're versatile, easy to grow, and they give you a big payoff with just a little effort. If you've ever been to a farmer's market or picked tomatoes fresh from the vine, you know how sweet and juicy they can be. Imagine being able to make your own salsa, salads, or pasta sauce using tomatoes from your garden. It's a game changer. The best tomato varieties for containers are the compact, determinate types. These are great for small spaces and will grow to a manageable size, unlike indeterminate types that can grow wildly. Tiny Tim and Tumbling Tom are perfect for hanging baskets or small pots. If you're in USDA zones 4 to 8, tomatoes can be grown in the summer months, but they do need warm weather to thrive. If you're in zones 9 or 10, you can grow them almost year-round. Tomatoes need a larger container than strawberries, at least 14 to 18 inches in diameter. The bigger the pot, the better the yield, as it allows the roots to spread out and take up nutrients. A container with good drainage is a must. Tomatoes do not like their roots sitting in water. I like to use a pot with a built-in saucer to catch any excess water, which makes cleanup easier. When planting, bury your tomato plant up to the first set of leaves. This helps encourage strong root growth, which is key for a healthy plant. Water your tomato plants regularly, but again, avoid overwatering. Tomatoes prefer slightly drier soil than other plants, so check the top inch of the soil before watering. The first time I grew tomatoes in a pot, I was surprised by how much they produced. I started with just one plant in a small container on my patio, and by the end of the summer, I had tomatoes spilling over the sides. I even had to make extra room on my windowsill to ripen them. Growing your own tomatoes is an incredibly rewarding experience, especially when you can harvest them right when they're at their juiciest and sweetest. Now that we've covered two classic fruits for containers, let's talk about something a little different, a fruit that might not come to mind immediately but is just as wonderful in smaller spaces. Lemons. Stay tuned. Fruit 3. Lemon. Imagine stepping outside on a bright, sunny day and plucking a fresh lemon right from your container garden. The citrusy scent fills the air as you slice it open, ready to add that perfect tang to your dishes or a refreshing splash to your drink. Growing lemons in containers might seem like a stretch, but believe me, it's not only possible, it's incredibly rewarding. Lemon trees, especially dwarf varieties like the improved Meyer lemon, are perfect for small spaces. These trees are compact, meaning they're ideal for patios, balconies, and even indoor spaces if you have the right amount of sunlight. Meyer lemons are sweeter than traditional lemons, with a slightly orangey taste, which makes them perfect for both savory and sweet recipes. If you're in USDA zones 9 through 11, which includes much of Southern California, Florida, and parts of Texas, you'll find that lemon trees thrive outdoors year-round. But don't worry, if you're in cooler areas, you can still grow lemons in pots. All you need is a warm, sunny spot where your tree can get at least 8 hours of sunlight a day, especially during the colder months. If you live in a colder region, just bring the tree inside when temperatures dip too low and let it thrive indoors. The key to successful lemon growing in containers is ensuring the right soil. They love well-drained soil, so make sure your pot has drainage holes and use a soil mix that's light and airy. It's also important not to overwater. Lemons prefer their soil to dry out a bit between waterings. Regular feeding with a balanced fertilizer helps too, especially during the growing season. When your lemons start to ripen, you'll be amazed at how satisfying it is to harvest them. Nothing beats the joy of using your own lemons in homemade lemonade, desserts, or even a splash of lemon juice in a fresh salad. Plus, lemon trees can last for years, producing fruit year after year, making them an investment for your container garden. If you're looking forward to growing your own tropical fruit, make sure you subscribe to our channel for more tips on container gardening, and let's grow together. Fruit 4. Peach. Now let's move on to peaches, another fruit that seems like it requires a massive backyard but can actually thrive in a container. Peaches are a true summer treat, and there's nothing like biting into a juicy, sweet peach you grew yourself. The great news is that you don't need a sprawling orchard to grow them. Dwarf peach trees, like the Bonanza or Pick Z varieties, are specifically bred to be compact while still producing delicious fruit. Peach trees in containers work best in USDA hardiness zones 5 to 8, which covers most of the U.S. If you're in a warmer climate like California or parts of Texas, you'll be able to plant them outdoors, but for cooler regions, container gardening is the perfect solution. Dwarf peaches are incredibly adaptable and can be grown in large pots or even containers with a sturdy trellis for support. You'll need a pot that's at least 18 inches deep to give the roots space to spread out. The best part about growing peaches in containers is that you get all the benefits of a full-size tree, but without the hassle. A container peach tree requires regular watering, but make sure it doesn't stay soggy. Peaches don't like wet feet. They also appreciate good drainage, so don't skimp on that important detail. Just like with lemons, make sure to feed them with a fruit tree fertilizer every few months to encourage healthy growth and a bountiful harvest. When it comes to sunlight, peach trees are sun lovers. They need at least 8 hours of direct sunlight a day to produce sweet fruit. If you're in a cooler climate, make sure to bring the tree inside during the winter months to protect it from frost. In the spring and summer, watch as your tree begins to blossom, and soon enough, you'll have those sweet, juicy peaches you've been dreaming of. Fruit 5. Raspberry. Raspberries are a wonderful fruit to grow in containers, and they bring so much joy when they start to fruit. These berries are sweet, tart, and full of antioxidants, making them perfect for everything from smoothies to jams. While raspberries are typically known for growing on sprawling vines in the ground, you can easily grow them in a container, and it's easier than you might think. There are two main types of raspberries: summer-bearing and ever-bearing. Summer-bearing raspberries bear fruit only once per year, typically in early summer. Ever-bearing raspberries, on the other hand, produce fruit twice a year, once in the summer and again in the fall. If you're looking for a longer harvest period, ever-bearing raspberries are the way to go. Raspberries grow well in USDA hardiness zones 3 to 8, so they'll thrive in most parts of the US and Canada. They do best in containers with a bit of height, like a 5-gallon bucket or larger, so the roots have room to grow. They also love a bit of vertical space, so using a trellis or even a small fence will keep your raspberries growing upward and help prevent the berries from touching the ground. When planting raspberries, be sure to plant them deep enough that their roots are well established. They do best in a well-draining soil mix, and like other fruits in containers, they need to be watered regularly. One important tip: raspberries don't like to have their roots too wet, so ensure the pot has drainage holes and that the soil dries out slightly between waterings. Raspberries need full sun for at least 6 hours a day to produce a good yield. If you have the right amount of sunlight and good soil, your raspberries will flourish. The excitement of picking ripe raspberries straight from the vine is unmatched. Trust me, you'll want to make a fresh jam or a pie with your harvest. Fruit 6. Fig. Figs are not only delicious, but also incredibly easy to grow in containers. The sweet, chewy texture of a fig straight from the tree is a treat that's hard to beat. Growing figs in a container is a great option for small spaces, especially if you choose a dwarf variety like the Petite Negra fig or the Little Miss Figgy variety. These compact trees produce a surprising amount of fruit, and with the right care, they'll give you a harvest year after year. Figs thrive in USDA hardiness zones 8 to 10, which covers much of the southern U.S., but they can also be grown in cooler climates in containers. If you're in a colder region, simply bring the tree indoors for the winter months to protect it from frost damage. Figs love full sun and need at least 8 hours of direct sunlight daily to thrive. So be sure to place your container in a sunny spot, whether it's a south-facing balcony or an outdoor garden that gets plenty of light. When planting a fig tree in a container, choose a large enough pot, at least 18 inches wide and deep. Fig trees have shallow roots, so you don't need an extremely deep container, but it should be wide enough to allow for good growth. Like all container plants, figs need well-drained soil and regular watering, but be careful not to overwater them. Figs do best when the soil is allowed to dry out a little between waterings. Once your fig tree starts to mature, you'll be amazed by the amount of fruit it produces. Figs ripen in late summer to early fall, and nothing compares to the taste of fresh figs straight from your own tree. They're perfect for snacking, adding to salads, or making into fig preserves. Fruit 7. Grapes. Imagine having your very own mini vineyard, but in a container. Grapes aren't just for large yards. They can be grown in containers with ease, and they provide an abundance of sweet, juicy fruit. There's something truly special about growing grapes, and the best part is, you don't need acres of land to make it happen. Whether you're in California or New York, grapes can thrive in containers if you provide them with the right care. For container-friendly varieties, you'll want to look for bush-type grapes like the patio or Canadice varieties. These are perfect for small spaces, and they don't take up a lot of room while still producing tons of grapes. Grapes love warmth, so they need a lot of sunlight, ideally 8 to 10 hours a day. In USDA hardiness zones 6 through 9, you can grow grapes outdoors in containers. However, if you live in a cooler zone, bring the container indoors during the winter to protect the vines from frost damage. When it comes to containers, choose a large one, at least 18 inches deep. The bigger the pot, the better your grapevine will thrive. Make sure the container has good drainage to prevent root rot. Grapevines need well-draining soil, so use a mix that's light and airy, which will help the roots spread and grow. One of the keys to growing grapes successfully in containers is to give them plenty of vertical space. A small trellis or arbor can help your grapevines grow upward rather than sprawling out across the ground. This saves space and also keeps your vines from getting tangled up. Grapes don't need much attention once they've established themselves, but be sure to water them regularly and prune them to keep the vine in check. When the grapes start to ripen in late summer to early fall, you'll be delighted by the sight of bunches of sweet, plump grapes hanging from your container-grown vines. If you're excited to try growing grapes in your container garden, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join our community of gardeners who are taking their small spaces to the next level. Fruit 8. Pineapple. Yes, you can grow pineapples in containers. I know it sounds surprising, but pineapple plants are a fantastic option for small spaces. With their tropical charm and unique look, they make a statement in any container garden. The best part? They're relatively low maintenance and add a touch of the tropics to your home. To grow pineapples in containers, you'll need to start with a pineapple top. Simply cut off the crown from a fresh pineapple you bought at the store, remove the excess fruit, and let the top dry out for a day or two. After that, plant it in a container with well-draining soil. Pineapples prefer sandy, loamy soil, so choose a mix that drains well but still retains some moisture. If you're in USDA zones 10 or 11, typically found in southern Florida, parts of Texas, and southern California, pineapples can be grown outdoors, but in cooler climates, they're perfect for containers that can be brought indoors during the colder months. Pineapple plants love full sunlight, so place your container in a spot that gets at least 6 to 8 hours of sun a day. Pineapples are slow growers, so don't expect instant results. It can take 2 to 3 years for a pineapple to fruit, but the reward is totally worth it. Once the plant is established, it will send up a flower stalk, and eventually a pineapple will form at the top. Keep the soil evenly moist, but don't overwater, as pineapples don't like to sit in soggy soil. When your pineapple is ready, it will turn golden and sweet, just like the ones you see in tropical markets. There's no greater satisfaction than enjoying the fruit of your labor, especially when it's something as exotic as a homegrown pineapple. If you're looking forward to growing your own tropical fruit, make sure you subscribe to our channel for more tips on container gardening, and let's grow together. Fruit number 9. Apples. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Apples require big, sprawling trees, right? Not so. In fact, you can grow apple trees in containers, and dwarf varieties are perfect for smaller spaces. Varieties like crabapple or gala are ideal for container gardens, producing sweet, crisp apples that are perfect for snacking, baking, or making cider. Apple trees can thrive in USDA hardiness zones 4 through 8, which covers most of the U.S. and parts of Canada. If you live in a cooler climate, Apples are a fantastic choice because they're cold-hardy and can tolerate colder temperatures. For warmer zones, just make sure your apple tree gets enough chill hours, usually around 400 to 1,000 hours of temperatures between 32 degrees F and 45 degrees F, depending on the variety. When selecting a container for your apple tree, choose a pot that's at least 18 inches deep and 24 inches wide. This will give the roots enough space to grow and produce fruit. Apple trees prefer slightly acidic soil, so use a mix that's rich in organic matter and ensure your container has good drainage. Apple trees do need regular watering, especially when they're fruiting, but avoid overwatering. They don't like their roots sitting in water. Keep the soil moist but well drained, and your tree will reward you with beautiful apples that you can enjoy fresh or in your favorite recipes. Can you imagine picking apples from your own tree? If you think that's an awesome idea, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more gardening inspiration and tips. As we've seen, growing fruit in containers is not only possible, it's incredibly rewarding. Whether you're in New York, Toronto, or California, these fruits will thrive in smaller spaces, and the satisfaction of harvesting your own fruit is unmatched. From sweet strawberries to juicy apples, the possibilities are endless when you have the right tools and knowledge. Remember, it's all about choosing the right varieties for your space, giving them the sunlight and care they need, and being patient as you watch your plants grow. Gardening doesn't have to be a huge commitment. It's about enjoying the process and reaping the benefits. If you're ready to start your own container fruit garden, hit the subscribe button now and let's grow together. I'll be back with more tips to help you maximize your space and enjoy the fruits of your labor.